What is up, everyone? Barricade here. I'm bringing you guys episode 2 of my Gears of War profile series. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite character, Dominic Santiago, his early life, his life as a soldier, and up to his death. So we're going to start off very early in Dom's life. So Dom became friends with Marcus Phoenix when he was 8 years old. This was more of an extension due to the fact that Marcus at the time was more close to Carlos Santiago, Dom's older brother, because Dom and Carlos were a few years apart and Marcus and Carlos actually went to school together. But Dom knew Marcus and they were friends. Later on, as years passed, when Dom was about 11 years old, he actually saw a young girl move into the next door house. Turned out to be Maria Flores, the woman that would eventually become the love of his life and the mother of his children. He spotted her one day when she was climbing on a tree that she had in her backyard while he was in his own backyard helping his father work on a car because his father was a mechanic. Dom's parents' names were actually Eduardo Santiago and Eva Santiago, and he was very close to his parents. They were very good parents. And the thing is, they kind of substituted as parents for Marcus to the extent that Marcus really loved being around both Eva, Eduardo, and Carlos and Dom. They kind of had him as like an extra brother for the family per se. Dom's relationship with Marcus grew very strong after a horrible event in Marcus's life. One day, Marcus was with the Santiagos eating dinner like any other day, and Marcus got a phone call from his father. Turned out that his mother, Elaine Phoenix, had gone missing, and no one had any idea what happened to her. For those who don't know, basically Elaine Phoenix discovered the locust and was thus killed by them. Marcus was never told about this, and Adam Phoenix didn't find about this until far later. Due to the distance that Marcus had with his father after this event, it kind of drew him into being more closer to the Santiago family. After that horrible event, their lives pretty much stayed normal from then on, going to school and just having normal lives. 5 years later, at the young age of 16, started dating Maria Flores, and unfortunately was not very smart on how he handled a specific situation and got Maria pregnant at a very young age. Luckily, Dom is a great guy when it comes to taking responsibility and had the courage to actually go to Maria's parents and tell them straight up what happened and told them that he was going to take care of this, that he was going to take care of his family to be. He was very scared to confront them and tell them what was happening, but luckily his own parents went with him to offer support. Her mother started crying, and luckily her father basically told him that they better get married, and that he, while pissed off what had happened, did give Dom the credit of being courageous enough to talk to him and straight up tell him, hey, I got your daughter pregnant. Dom decided to drop out of school and actually join the COG shortly after, at a very young age. Carlos was kind of scared about this decision, and so was his parents, but they realized he was going to join the COG anyway, so they might as well just let him do it and support his family sooner. Later on, Dom's first child was born, a baby boy by the name of Benedicto Santiago. Shortly after his son's birth, he dropped out of school and joined the COG. And he was first training with Bernadette Mataki as a commando, which he was also trained in survival tactics similar to that of Marcus Phoenix. About a year later, Dominic Santiago had to take action and be part of Operation Leveler. For those who don't know, that's simply the mission on Asphalt Fields where they had to steal the Hammer of Dawn blueprints, where we got to see a little bit of it at the beginning of Gears of War 4. That's the thing that's kind of crazy when you think about it, because Dom was only about 17 years old at the time, and he was already being a badass, fighting alongside the COG on Asphalt Fields. His part of the mission was quite interesting because he would work alongside Hoffman and interrogate scientists to find out the blueprints of the Hammer of Dawn. One part that really stood out to me in the novels is he actually had to interrogate a woman and was acting very crazily and rude and very psychopathic to get the information out of her. He didn't actually have to physically hurt her to get the information, but he did have to scare the crap out of her. And that was the one thing that he actually felt really bad about afterwards, because he knew that he would not like to know that someone was doing that to Maria, but it's part of his mission. It's something he had to do. He was able to help find the blueprints, and they were able to download them through the robot that they had with them at the time. It was a robot similar to Jack, and they actually had 3 of them in total that would help steal the information. They went by the names of Bruce, Joe, and Frank. Believe it or not, these type of robots were numerous back in the early COG days, and they all went by different names. Jack wasn't a specific code name for the type of robot. They were actually a name for the robot. Dom's mission ended with him actually saving a lot of other soldiers when he actually had to drive a boat into a Raven to save a lot of soldiers' lives. When he did this, he actually got an Embry Star as a reward for his heroic actions. Unfortunately, at the same time, his brother Carlos also got an Embry Star, but for a very sad reason. He sacrificed himself to save Marcus and the other soldiers. Dom, stricken with sadness knowing that his brother died, felt very, very depressed and just didn't know what to do with his life. And he was actually very stricken with hard emotion at the time because he just found out his brother died, but that his second child, his daughter, Sylvia, was born. So how do you deal with so much emotion at the same time? Your brother just died, but your second child was just born. Crazy. I always felt really bad for Dom at that part in the novels because that's just really heart-wrenching, to be honest. This was a very short-lasting victory because only about a few years after all this happened, Dom finally moved into a new home and got to be with his wife. He was enjoying the day off with just his wife because Maria decided to let the kids be with her parents for the day so her and Dom could just have some alone time. Simple, normal, happy day. That day, unfortunately, was Emergence Day, and the locusts emerged, killed many people, including Maria's parents and his children. They were very young, very small kids, anywhere from 2 to 3 years old or so, and he lost them. And was stricken with grief, every time he was away fighting the locusts, he kind of felt some peace taking revenge on the things that killed his children. But unfortunately at the time, all Maria would do was sit at home and wait for Dom to come home. Due to being alone so much and the loss of her parents and her children, she tended to start kind of losing it, unfortunately. Dom would come home on leave and see her crying her eyes out, her face full of tears and just actually puffed up and red just from crying so much. And she started to have hallucinations. She started saying things like, I need to look for the kids. I need to look for the kids. I know they're out there. And Dom would have to tell her, no, the kids are gone. They're dead. And she would just kind of argue with him and be like, no, I saw them. They're nearby. I need to look for them. Very saddening. And Dom was always, fighting the locusts, doing his missions, and she kind of lost it towards the ends of their relationship. And just one day he came home and she was gone. No word, no idea where she went, why she left, just gone. And that's when his journey for searching for her began, and he searched for her for 10 years, only to find her the way she was. Completely tortured, and he had to put her out of her misery. This led to him becoming very sad and angry because he just never got to see his wife the way she was again. And he really hated the locusts even more at this point because they took away his children, tortured his wife, and just completely ruined his life. Towards the end of Gears of War 3, he had to be put, unfortunately, in the decision to sacrifice himself to save Marcus and everyone else, which he was willing to do, which he had in his mind to do, well before that situation even happened. In the novels, he would actually say things like, DeMarcus is the main person that he cares about, and he would die for him. That's only the person that he cared about. Without Marcus, he wouldn't care about the world, because Marcus was his brother, the only person from his past that he really, really cared about. And the thing that was sad is that Sam, for those who don't know, Samantha Byrne had a really huge crush on Dom. She really wanted to be with him. And I know in Gears of War 4 we found out that she ended up with Baird. But before Baird, she really liked Dom. And she would always try to make, jokes and things and try to kind of forward their relationship, and he always would put it on hold. And first people thought that it was because they felt like he was going to betray Maria's memory or something like that. Actually, what the true thing was is not that he felt like he would be betraying Maria, but because the simple fact that he felt like he didn't deserve to be happy because he couldn't save his children. And because of that, he never let the relationship with Sam go anywhere. But she really did like him. And after his death, she really felt torn. And I think just due to after Gears of War 3 and just, Baird seemed to kind of take a liking to her after Dom's death because he felt bad for her. But Dom has always been the brother, the guy, the person you can always depend on. And it was really crazy to see his evolution throughout the story, through the novels, comics, and up to his death. Now I'm going to go ahead and enter the Gears facts, 3 facts about the character that you may not know that I haven't said yet. First fact, Dominic Santiago stands at 6 feet even, so a little bit shorter than Marcus Phoenix. He was actually born 19 years before Emergence Day. So by the time of Gears of War 3, which was basically anywhere from 15 to 16 years after Emergence Day, Dom was pushing his mid-30s before his death. Gears fact 2. Dom actually grew really close with Anya after Marcus was sent to prison in the slab. He actually grew really close to her, and he would take her on his little missions when he would go around and ask the stranded if they had seen Maria, and she actually would hang out with him a lot. There's actually, at one point in time, I forgot who it was, but one of the characters kind of made a joke about Dom being with Anya, like he should try to be with her instead. But Dom kind of had this little speech in his mind that basically said, no, Anya is Marcus's woman. I wish I could find the quote. I try to look for it on Gearspedia and also through my novels, but I cannot find it. But long story short, what he basically stated is that he admitted that he found her beautiful. He found Anya beautiful. There's no question about that. But there was no way he could ever see her that way because she belonged with Marcus. And he would do anything to protect her from anyone because they were meant to be together. It's actually kind of crazy, that he's such a good friend that he would never even look in Anya's direction when it came to that. Gears fact 3. Dom actually sold his Embry Star in order to pay for his appeals towards Marcus' sentence. He didn't care about the medal. He sold it for a lot of money and actually used all of it to try to get Marcus out of jail. Dom actually was told by Marcus to give up. Marcus told him to give up and just leave him alone. It's over, And Dom didn't care. Dom went out of his way to save Marcus and did so many things. And due to this, it led to the COG kind of having a bad opinion about him because he was always defending a quote-unquote traitor. His rank was demoted a few times because of this, but he didn't care. He still kept striving, kept doing everything he could to try to reverse Marcus's sentence. In the events of the prison that Marcus was in, the slab, Hoffman had a mission to save, certain people from the prison, but they couldn't find Marcus. So Hoffman actually had to give up on Marcus and leave. Dom went on his own and basically said, screw the mission and I'm going to save Marcus, and went to go save him, leading to the events of Gears of War 1. So it's kind of crazily that he actually disobeyed orders to save Marcus, but he actually wasn't punished. Probably because it wasn't as severe of a situation. But anyways, guys, if you guys like this video, please definitely hit that like button and subscribe, and tell me what you guys think about this episode of Gears of War Profiles, and if you really like Dom as a character. Personally, he's my favorite, and I really, really love his story, his personality, and the things that he did throughout the story itself. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and take it easy. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see my most recent Gears of War video, hit that link on the left. If you want to see any of my other content, hit that link on the right. Thanks for watching, guys.